poised to do the KT special, where they just come back from the brink, like they did last week.
Tough task. Tall ask, but it starts with this game.
Oh, I thought you were going to keep the rhyme.
That's
tough task, tall ask.
Drink from your flask?
Yeah, or let's go somewhere and bask. Yeah, I didn't have anything either, but I thought that maybe you'd be able to find some magic there.
Rhyming past 2 it gets harder and harder.
What, 3? Okay, the Varus is going to be taken away once again. We're going to have Orianna and the Cassiopeia, but we've got a bit of a side switch. KT this time, after a loss, have decided to go for first pick instead. And so the blue side will now belong to Gen.G, much like it did in game number 1.
Yeah, so we'll see how things evolve in terms of draft in this one. KT backs against the wall. But at this point, the amount of picks taken away, we would see in a typical best of 3 that goes to 3 games in the LCK. So not too much pressure, I feel like, on anyone's champion pools as of yet. Going for the Vayne denial in this situation. A pick that Kiin has had struggles on in his crib, then had a big resurgence on this season. Yep.
Yeah.
Bard once again denied from Duro, and the Jarvan was something that was retained as a Gen.G ban throughout the series. A bit of a Cuzz special.
Yep. Nocturne is available as well. Was banned in the second game, but not the first. So we'll see where they do decide to go. I imagine Jarvan is probably still going to be the ban. And instead, the Ashe taken away.
Yeah, so denying away the potential for Ashe Seraphine. Ashe Seraphine Jarvan can be very powerful, but obviously with KT on first pick, they're not going to get all of it. But I think the thought process was, if you go Jarvan, it's awkward for us to go Ashe Seraphine, because Jarvan's great into that, and we don't want you to get Jarvan Ashe Seraphine. So they give over the Jarvan. They're willing to do that, and looking to trade, first and foremost, looking at the Gnar, no Vayne, no Varus to play into it. Could have a pretty chill time in the top lane.
Yeah, this is a bit of a fun one. We often criticize blind Gnar, but with Fearless and the fact that there has been that Vayne ban, could be one of these options here for Kiin, and he will be able to lock that one away. Now, Canyon can go for an answer to the Jarvan now, or they could take another priority pick if they would like to. It's around game 3 where we start to see earlier lock-ins of bottom lane, so it might be half a bottom lane that Canyon could decide to go with here, anticipating that Aiming and Effort could be locking in their champions. But instead, Naafiri going to be picked up, and he's going to be the choice into the J4.
I think it makes sense if you're leaving the J4. Naafiri obviously does not feel really threatened by J4's very telegraphed CC that you can easily outplay. You can dash outside the Cataclysm, you can dash outside his Flag and Drag, or just go untargetable to Canyon. But a great game too. Going to feel very confident on this pick. And now, KT just immediately slamming down Yunara Lulu. Thought process here is that Vi is gone, Nautilus is gone. They deny the Lulu Naafiri combo that we've seen be quite potent. Also, if you're sharp on the Lulu ult, you can interrupt the dash of the ult of Naafiri, provide that peel. So they're putting a lot of eggs into the aiming basket here. And I think in this situation, Gen.G probably just going to pick up a mid for Chovy.
Lissandra, without anything showing, would be a crazy choice here. We saw it yesterday. Viktor actually having a turnaround performance on that one.
So we were saying, point-and-click CC's being taken away with Nautilus and Lissandra gone. Nautilus and Vi gone. Lissandra is point-and-click CC, but is cleansable, which is one of the weaknesses it has. But we've seen the priority of this pick rising in solo queue from a lot of the pros have been playing Lissandra top, Lissandra support even, with Imperial Mandate syncing so well with her kit. So Chovy going to get his hands on that. And he gets to build Rocket Belt as well. I feel great about it.
What do you mean he gets to build Rocket Belt? Like, he could play Yone, he'll build Rocket Belt.
You're not wrong.
That's just how it would go. As Caitlyn going to be taken away, the Aurora going to be removed as the answer to this Lissandra, theoretically. And possible now to stick towards some top lane bans, perhaps, for holding on to some extra safety for the Gnar. But maybe they just don't really care too much about it. Obviously, Kiin would be confident in the Renekton matchup that we have seen actually picked into Gnar and the other way around. There seems to be a bit of a gentleman's agreement. I actually think Renekton would be very strong for KT in this draft.
Oh, the respect ban towards BDD Zoe makes a lot of sense. And for this last ban from KT, are you more worried about like a Xayah Rakan? I mean, Xayah into Jarvan doesn't feel good, so I guess not. MF maybe is something you get rid of, just a strong AD carry. Corki, we haven't seen that much of, but can get out the Cataclysm. We saw a lot of Corki into the Yunara, but without Nami, feels a lot weaker now. I mean, Nami still exists, but the Imperial Mandate synergy with her is gone. Lucian going to come through his ban, so no Lucian Milio. And here, I mean, honestly, you could even go like Callista in this situation, I feel.
Well, that's a possibility. They do kind of want damage. I mean, I know there's a Naafiri, does do a lot, but Lissandra isn't a massive amount.
I think you have enough across the composition.
I guess so. As Rula, going to go back to his roots here.
Okay.
Bit of a grin from Duro there as well, as the Xayah is going to be locked away. No ability to take away the Rakan, as that Lulu is already locked in.
Yeah, so I mentioned the prospect of this, but I thought it wasn't something they'd definitely go for, specifically because you're into the Jarvan, but they end up committing anyway. Xayah Rakan likely going to be the combo for Gen.G, and we're going to see Perfect pick up the Renekton into the Gnar. We've seen this matchup so many times. The Renekton does have that early pressure, but will get outskilled in the side lane. LCK Renekton is pretty good at applying that early pressure when Gnar's range is short. And now the mid lane pick for BDD.
And so the Ahri pick feels awkward, right? Lissandra often picked into the Ahri, so that doesn't feel like the way you want to go. Instead, going to be more focused on the later game team fights with a lot of scaling damage on this Viktor.
I thought it'd be something like Azir or Viktor in this situation. Just play at a distance, be that secondary carry. But when they do inevitably just focus down aiming, it ends up going for the Viktor. So one little concern with that is that level 6, there was a lot of threat from that enemy mid-jungle. It's 2 targeted ults. There's no outplay potential if they just both press R onto you and you are on a mobile mid-lane mage that can be a bit vulnerable. So I think for Gen.G, I think in terms of their composition, they have a lot of engage power on that mid-jungle, but they need to get the ball rolling. These are both picks that kind of are feast or famine in the Naafiri and the Lissandra. And you also, as much as you have the Xayah as like a late game carry, it's into Jarvan and Lulu. And if he just cataclysms you, and then there's a wild growth as well for follow-up, that can be a tough time.
Yeah.
This is definitely not the easiest composition for Gen.G to pilot. It's going to come a lot down to their mid-jungle being successful. And then the other side, I think it's just scale up and play around aiming being strong and Viktor being strong. Make sure you don't fall prey to early shenanigans from this Lissandra and Naafiri. Just don't fall behind too much for KT. And I think you should be strong in the team fights.
See what they can do here, as I think that this is a decent opportunity for KT to try and make their way back. You mentioned already, I think that as far as the draft is concerned, they are feeling pretty fantastic. So it has to be just that turnaround of momentum, right? So much of what happens in like situations where you're 0-2 down, it's not about the draft. It's about whether or not you can get your heads back into the game and make something happen. KT did so well in game number 1. Gonna need to replicate it.
KT, 하나, 둘, 셋.
All right, here we are, potentially the final game of this series. And just to remind everyone, the winner of this goes on to face T1 for the final ticket to Daejeon and to MSI. That is why we called this tournament Road to MSI, because afterwards you get to MSI.
Yeah.
Although actually, shouldn't we have renamed it? Because it looked like it's a train track to MSI.
Yeah.
Based on our little train. Not actually a road.
But also, it, you know, last year, it was, MSI was abroad, so...
Ah, true. So you'd have to take a plane.
Yeah, or a boat, I guess.
Yeah. So it's like, it's voyage to MSI.
Yeah.
Last year. Now it's like train to MSI.
Can you voyage not on a boat?
I think so.
What's the limit? Because you wouldn't... Would you go on a train?
Can't you voyage anywhere? In any way? Or is it a boat type thing? I think you have to be on a vessel of some kind.
Yeah, but if someone said, oh, I'm going on a voyage to Daejeon and they were getting on a train, wouldn't you be like, is that a voyage?
Yeah.
It does sound a bit weird.
I don't actually know what the clear definition of voyage is. Because is it just a synonym to journey, you know?
It does feel like it has a more specific use case.
That's a very good point. That being said, Journey has put into my mind that KT fans need to not stop believing.
That's very true.
And we'll see whether they do.
We did see Cuzz invading heavily, trying to challenge the Raptors, but missed out. And now Canyon has taken his Raptors. And I actually like this move. He doesn't go for the red. He just immediately goes for the Krugs, which is kind of hidden. Can take this and should hit level 3 as well. So if he needs to fight over the red, he can. Or he can just dip out.
Yeah, that's what he's going to look to do as Cuzz gets the information, realizes that his Krugs are no longer there, and now Canyon actually wrapping around looking for BDD. BDD's wise to it and is going to be able to get back underneath his turret as Cuzz still has an idea as to where Canyon is. Canyon will finally back away, and it looks like the red buff will go over to Cuzz in the end. Canyon still a little bit ahead as far as the tempo is concerned. Flipping over this wall over and over again, and there is dagger number 1 going to connect. Perfect moves down though. That should mean that Rift Scuttler is going to go over to Cuzz here on this top side.
I think the start was pretty good from Canyon, but I think he spent a lot of time hovering around trying to look for the red buff when Cuzz was already there. And I think if he'd just gone from Krog straight to his jungle, would have been better off. I think as well, because Perfect had that early prio, couldn't really contest the Scuttle. And now you have a situation where Canyon really wants to be clearing through his jungle, which is obviously, he's in a good position because he has all those camps up. But for Cuzz, he really wants to get something done, whether it's get this Scuttle or get a gank off, because he just doesn't have much to do right now. And you can see he's beelining towards the bot side of the map. He would love to be able to get a gank in here onto Ruler or Duro.
Yeah, it's going to be his target. You can see moving over towards that Tri-Brush now. As Duro actually moving aggressively. This could be an opportunity for Cuzz as he's now looking for the enemy Krugs. Canyon going to spot him here.
Yeah, Canyon now up in level. So Cuzz does actually smite there and managed to equalize.
Decent move, but it is going to be Rift Scuttler over to Cuzz here.
Yeah. So Cuzz was trying to get something to happen there, just at least take away the Krugs and respond a bit. I think Canyon just lost out on some time trying to contest the Scuttle and hanging around on the top side. Could have maybe been a situation where Cuzz was cut out more of the game if he'd played it a bit faster, but either way, both junglers in a fine position.
Yep, not doing too badly as the Gromp has now respawned over on Cuzz's side. Head over there if he wants to, but the Raptors are going to be his priority. BDD having a very good time in this lane so far. And Chovy not going to be able to fully equalize the minions with a full clear on this one, as he does actually go in there.
Ow.
Yeah, that's it's a lot of... Yeah.
Yeah, not having the easiest time in lane so far on the Lissandra into the Viktor. Viktor has been bullying out all over the matchups we've seen him into nearly levels. But we're approaching level 6 for Chovy, and that is a point where things really get scary for the Viktor, when there's a threat of just being ulted whenever Chovy goes in. Canyon not quite there yet, but those two in unison will be a major threat.
Not to mention just Canyon showing up and then having a CC target to hit double daggers into. That feels like a lot of damage, and maybe not something that BDD can handle. Right now, he is able to go back, grabs himself a lost chapter, and feels very, very good about how the lane state is looking. Flash at the ready. And KT moving themselves into a slight advantage, but they also have a composition that scales like a fine wine. And I think that they are going to be feeling pretty happy with how this game is positioned right now.
I'd agree. We see Canyon moving in, but is spotted on a lot of vision in this situation.
As control ward, something that BDD does want to protect, but the death rate not going to land. Just be cleared out. But moving over, the Lulu has been one of his better picks in the past, as the Floor of Doom is not going to be fully followed there by Chovy, but gets him out of the gravity well. Canyon moves in. Frozen Tomb at the ready here for Chovy.
Yeah, I was going to say, will we get a Contestant's Dragon? But I think the ult from BDD forces Chovy back. Perfect. Doing what he's done so many times this season, and moving down when he has prio. The bot lane prio as well means it's just Fierce Dragon pickup for KT. Chemtech Dragon as well, so no Chemtech Soul feels pretty good.
Yeah, next one going to be a Cloud. So a few options as far, like, could be another Ocean. That would probably be the worst, but otherwise everything is pretty interesting as far as the Dragon options. House goes wide. But Kiin having a pretty good time in this matchup, although he is behind a little bit actually on farm. Things look like they're going way better for the Gnar though, as far as how the play was looking in the trades. Chovy, yep, gonna have to claw his way out, and will be able to do so. Obviously, Lissandra not exactly picked for her prowess in the laning phase. It's a lot more about how you can set up fights and create space for especially Ruler
and you know,
to try and dominate.
It was actually Lissandra that BDD played in Game 5 that upset last year in playoffs when KT took down Gen.G.
Oh, there you go.
So that was the last really significant Lissandra game I remember, when we got some big flanks from BDD on the Hextech Soul. It was actually Ruler who went ballistic in that game as well, I believe. Which is why it came up with great effect, so...
Yep. Has often been a pretty good option into that one. As Effort takes a lot of damage from Ruler here, playing with his feathers pretty effectively. Into a little bit of an advantage. I think that aiming should be able to equalize pretty comfortably. Pops that Q. Everything is going to be all right, although he is taking a lot of damage here from this Xayah. Ruler is so incredibly aggressive.
Yeah, and then a lot of pressure there. Should be able to get the Crystalline Overgrowth next wave pushed in. Get that bit of gold from that first plate.
That gravity field goes down. There was a claw put in position, but we're going to watch Canyon and Cuzz fighting over these grubs right now. First one should be going over to Canyon. We'll see how confident he is to lock down the next couple. Does still have Smite. As right now, Chovy gonna have to deal with that gravity well. Is gonna get stunned up as the Arcane Storm does come down. Battle Dance is decent. Canyon goes into the sky. He just flips over towards his blue buff. And now the last two grubs should be going over here as Slice Dice from Perfect. He has the Dominus there as well. There's no hop left for Kiin. He has Flash, but so does Perfect, and he decides not to pull the trigger. Just pushes the Gnar out of the way.
Forces him out of lane, doesn't have to burn his Flash. I think if he goes for that, there's a risk Kiin flashes too. He's happy just applying that pressure. We'll get a plate as well for his trouble and remains healthy, which means even though Canyon's here, they cannot make a play onto this full health Renekton.
Yeah, Kiin now able to at least walk up. That Gnar is in an okay spot where he will be able to get a bit of health back, but it is still feeling worrying. As you can see why. Like, Perfect, happy to pick the Renekton into this matchup against the Gnar that we have seen Gnar picked into for so many years. The Renekton has been having a little bit of a resurgence in this one.
Absolutely. I feel like that's the thing, is like when we started the season, it was Gnar being picked into Renekton and just having a great time, and then our top laners have just really been finding success on the Renekton in the early levels, even up to this point. And as much as the late scaling can come down, there we go.
Frozen Tomb comes in, and now the combo. BDD in a lot of trouble. Battle Dance quickness, the charm is great, but BDD gets his health bar back with the wild growth. And KT are able to save their mid laner and hold on to his flash.
That's the crazy thing. He doesn't even have to flash there. Effort comes in to save him. And those two big budget ultimates, three actually, with the quickness as well, burn to try and get BDD. And they end up being unsuccessful.
Double Dragon now potentially on the cards. Minute and a half until that one is up. So I guess they will have a few buttons back by that stage. But Effort having to run away.
I think it's just one of those situations where if you'd gotten the flash, you'd feel so much better about this dragon fight in a minute and your odds for it.
Oh, aiming and Ruler fighting against one another. Getting out of the way of the feathers is aiming. Definitely an intelligent maneuver there, as Ruler's going to have to get the heck out of there. Double summon is available for both of these bottom laners, but aiming really getting control of the wave for now.
Yeah, the power of the ultimate so big there in this matchup as well, because it gives you that dash to outplay the feathers, and aiming puts the pressure down. He's going to look for a recall. Oh, the circle!
Yeah, circle value gets the Feather Storm out of Ruler. Yet another big cooldown. It is not going to be there for the dragon fight in 40 seconds time.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the ultimates, the three that were burnt onto BDD should be up and available in time, but Rulers certainly will not. And that really makes you wonder if they're going to feel confident to go for a fight around it, or if KT can just pick up a second. BDD going to pop his ultimate just to get more pressure down on the Chovy. Been a lot of ulting for lane pressure in this game.
I always associate it with Doinby. I feel like Doinby used to do this all the time, even in his first few years, where you just pick Viktor and then ult wave, ult enemy, just ult for priority. And it's been happening from everyone ever since.
If I'm being honest, I feel like after last game when Chovy was just anti-ulting onto the BDD,
yeah,
kind of asking for it.
True.
We do have Cyclo Sword came in for Canyon. This is a pretty big spike on the Naafiri.
Cuzz doesn't have his yet. Obviously never going to have a Cyclo Sword, but doesn't have his Sundered Sky either. As Perfect now waiting in this Tri-Brush, just wanting to grab onto this wave. Kiin doesn't really want him to do this. But Kiin will have to go back to the wave if he wants to be able to farm it. So Perfect not feeling too worried, just taking a little bit of harass and will otherwise be all right. As aiming and Ruler fighting once again. There is the quickness as Duro not quite able to get on top of aiming, who presses a whole bunch of buttons, gets shielded up by Effort. Still has his barrier, but now doesn't have flash.
Oh, Chovy doesn't have TP though. He's recalling. So he's going to stick around. Aiming's a great target now. With no flash, no ult.
Yeah.
Chovy can just go in, root him, and self-ult. He's fine.
Wild Growth is there for effort, so maybe that's going to be an angle, but the Claw not going to be taken there, so Chovy just going to be backing away. And there is the Drake secured by KT. Another Mountain Soul this game.
Yeah, the TP is enough to ward them away. Kiin's just going to pick up some pressure in the top lane, try and close that gap between him and Perfect, and Gen.G opt to not take the fight, which feels risky when you're playing into this Yunara, Lulu, Viktor, that you're giving so much time to KT. Even though it's even in gold, the fact they have 2 dragons, Soul is so far away if it's going to be Gen.G's, and if it's KT's, then that's a whole another problem.
Well, Ruler has a decent advantage as far as money and plates are concerned. Has actually taken one towards that bottom side. Aiming now, parking himself in the top lane as we do see Cuzz looking for an angle towards Canyon, Kiin, and Duro. And aiming is rotating around now. That is Duro getting over there. The polymorph doesn't really do too much though, as he'd already made it out. So KT just trying to put on as much pressure as they can. Does really feel like they've moved to the front foot as we have entered this mid game now. Perfect here. This bottom lane just trying to deal with Chovy as best he can. A little bit more difficult for Renekton.
Yeah, so much spam from Lissandra. It's not doing a ton of damage to him, but it is just annoying.
Yep, not to mention she yells at you all the time.
Yeah. Also very difficult to ever really pressure him as a Renekton. So Cuzz trying to be annoying right now. Very specifically.
And successfully.
Yeah.
Very nicely done. Throwing flags around, things like that. Effort going to recharge the wards. And KT still just taking it slow and steady. Gold lead, though, doesn't exist for either team. And you mentioned already, KT very happy because they have the dragons. They also have the majority of grubs. Neutral objectives have been going their way.
So a big thing in this game is I was talking about the mid jungle needing to get a head start for Chovy and Canyon and get some momentum. They really haven't. And we now have the Mikhail for effort. So the Lissandra value has just immediately dropped quite substantially with that being a thing. And it doesn't actually matter that much if you're fed enough because the damage is still there when you do your combo. But when you're not ahead of the curve and you pop your ultimate and it just instantly gets cleansed, it's going to feel way worse for Chovy.
Oh, there is the Frozen Tomb. Claw actually doing a lot of work here as Canyon comes on over, ults for the finish. As Perfect does get a bunch of his health back there with the Cull the Meek, but that is still going to be the kill, going over to the Naafiri. And first blood, finally, here at 15 minutes.
Bit of a slow starter. We will see KT in response get some damage onto this tower and take a lot of gold into Aiming's pockets. We do see the response is going to be Chovy on the other side of the map, but a lot slower.
Yeah.
This tower and a Herald as bonus for KT, so I think KT feeling pretty happy about this one.
Yeah, I think you'll smile at the cross map as that is going to be Aiming now securing that turret like you were talking about, and closes the gap between himself and Ruler pretty considerably. Ruler also taking some harassment here from BDD on this Viktor, who has had a relatively quiet game so far. But we know the damage potential of this Viktor is going to be very, very high. Not to mention the resets, expanding his Storm, and getting a whole lot of value as this game goes on.
I think obviously the Viktor's are mobile, so if you get on top of him, you can explode him. You have the CC to do so. But if you're just laning against him, there's no one who really feels comfortable doing that on the side of Gen.G. He just keeps slamming lasers at you and making it a difficult situation. So Rulers felt the brunt of that, Chovy has as well. And no one's really feeling too keen about matching up into DDD right now.
Apart from Kiin, because I think Kiin's always feeling keen.
True.
That's my last one.
Keen, but maybe not happy.
Yeah, I'll try to stop with the dad jokes as best I can. I cannot.
It's in your
help.
nature.
I
know.
can't. Yeah, I can't help my status.
You even have an excuse now.
I know. Although I don't think anything would have changed whether or not I had become a father, regardless. But Gen.G now just trying to play some defense. It's KT just searching for cracks. You know, trying to get in there, trying to make something happen. So, and 35 seconds until this next dragon. That is probably where the next fight will happen.
That's the big thing. All summoners are available apart from Kiin's Flash. And for Gen.G, getting on these key backliners, the Viktor and the Yunara is super important. So finding flank angles, good angles of approach is really important.
Why did Kiin's Flash just go on cooldown?
think that must be a spectator, bro. It was on cooldown before.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
All right. It looked like he just flashed.
I did just say, everyone has a flash apart from Kiin.
Yeah.
And if you look, it's also like, it's coming
It's
back
going
to cooldown really
faster than it
Yeah.
should. Yeah, okay. That was a little bit
visual
flex.
error. But Gen.G, want to find good backline access. They do have a ward actually behind. You can see near the mid tower. This is like a prime TP flank ward. You can see right next to Cuzz there. So if KT overextend, that's what they might pounce on.
Oh, Canyon looking for a little bit of an angle here, but doesn't find any of the daggers. And it looks like Gen.G not going to be able to remove this control ward that has been holding a lot of power for KT. Being able to slink between mid lane and the river. Ruler in a decent spot. Does have some feathers down now, but you can see aiming. I think he's ready. I think he feels like he wants to have a bit of a fight now.
Yeah, remember there's a Herald as well for KT. It's like a bonus.
Ooh, Battle Herald?
Battle Herald has potential. Could also just throw it down mid to force Gen.G to respond.
Well, Cuzz now just going to be throwing flags around. Effort taking a lot of damage from these little doggos.
Yeah. I gotta say, Canyon is pretty farmed, pretty far ahead of Cuzz. Level 12 on the Naafiri.
Ooh, Chovy does get the circle down. There's a Cataclysm Wild Growth combo as Cuzz immediately gets out of there. Interruption on the grand entrance is decent as the Frozen Tomb gets McHale's immediately, like you were talking about. Gen.G's health bar is just going lower and lower as there is the Featherstorm aiming, finds the Arc of Ruin, but it is not enough to get any kills. Still, they push Gen.G away, but KT are also looking a little worse for wear, even if they do get control of the pit.
Crazy that no one died in that passage of play, but Gen.G getting focused down first. They're trying to contest this though, Canyon.
Yeah, dealt with the Slurkle. He's in here a little early, you could say, as now doesn't have the untarget ability. The teleport back in as Kiin's coming on over. That is going to be the secure of the Drake from Gen.G. Denying that soul point from KT is now BDD looking for the Chovy angle as he gets the claw down, disappears. And now BDD wanting to find more. Is the death ray going to be there? The grand entrance just to be a hero. And he does save Chovy, but Duro dies in the process.
Now Kiin and Canyon looking though.
Yep, Gravity Well does come on through here as Canyon bounces over the wall. The Gravity Field not doing much of anything at all as the Hyper Proc starting to come in, and maybe the KT overextension has begun as Chovy gets his immediate revenge, although he doesn't get an assist.
Pretty heavy cost to pay. You could see BDD frustrated that they weren't able to get more kills out of that fight, and he burns his flash to make that play happen, which is just a 1-for-1. This is after the initial fight has already happened, which was super close. The Combat Herald gets thrown down because Cuzz considering the option of going in for the smite and then using that as an out, but in the end, the smite comes through and Gen.G just disengage. BDD trying to kill Chovy here. Duro goes for the heal and then shields. Oh
no, the aiming face check as, you know, he tried to press ult and barrier and stuff like that and get himself out of the way as there's the reset as Canyon looks for some daggers onto Effort, who almost just dies from the initial hit.
I mean, at this point, with the Cyclo Sword Black Cleaver, you're so strong on Naafiri. The cooldown's extremely low, you just flip every 3 seconds.
Yep, bouncing around the battlefield.
Yeah, you have the Shred and that percentage HP damage on the Cyclo Sword. He's so strong right now, and if he targets aiming, if he targets BDD, and they go down, I feel like KT's chances of winning a fight just plummet.
Already looking worrying here as the flash out from Ruler. Cataclysm for flash. KT will take that one, but there is still a lot further up to go.
Yeah, a good summon of the bin.
Oh, dear. Wait. Solidarity, I guess, from aiming support. His effort's just dead.
Guys, that brush isn't worth it.
Yeah, let's not go into that brush anymore, KT.
I don't know what the obsession is, but whatever it is, it's not worth it.
Aiming's like, I dropped my candy. I dropped my candy in that brush. Evan, could you go get it for me? As Chovy going to be able to claw his way out of here. That is going to be the tower falling down in mid lane and the whole map opening up for Gen.G. Oh, dear. Maybe Pony wasn't correct. Maybe I'm understanding why it's so hard to explain.
Yeah.
All right, aiming. Slothful does come on in as the Frozen Tomb down as well. And Michaels is moving forward as aiming is looking for an opportunity here as Ruler off to the side. Death Ray not going to quite do enough there, but at least Chovy's going to get pushed away.
You know what I find really interesting?
What do you find really interesting?
Is that we've had Lissandra come quite heavily back in the meta. Not so much, we haven't seen a ton of it yet, but we've seen all the pros playing it. But the build is Blackfire Torch, Rocket Belt, then Imperial Mandate. You don't get Imperial Mandate till 3rd.
Yeah.
So Chovy, this is just normal Lissandra. Nothing's changed.
It's just it.
Yeah. But playable now, because once you get 3 items, it's different.
And also it adds vulnerability, right? So
no, I mean, I'm not denying it's a good 3 item. It's just funny that you play 22 minutes without it.
And I think it's kind of cool that even though he's the only magic source, it's still fine. You know, like some other builds can feel a little bit awkward because like Black Cleaver, for example, and then you've got a bunch of magic damage dealers and you're like, well, what am I doing this for? Whereas the Lissandra definitely very happy to just be boosting damage in general with the rest of his teammates. Very cute. But 2 items are now done here for Ruler. And Chovy is just kind of messing with them. Is what it looks like at the moment as Canyon goes up into the sky to try and avoid the Arcane Storm, but BDD still doing a lot of damage here as there's the knock-up onto Duro. Cuzz looking for the angle there, but he's got Battle Dance. I think Duro's going to be just fine.
I don't think Canyon is.
Yeah, I think he might just be very dead. As he throws some daggers around, there is a cute little polymorph, and that is BDD locking down the kill.
I feel like Naafiri is one of these champions where you're so mobile, so hard to pin down, that it just makes you think there's no way they could ever catch me, even if I'm at the enemy Cuzz, and then you die.
Yeah, because you were at the enemy Cuzz.
This happened yesterday as well.
Yeah, Cuzz were a difficult part of the map yesterday.
Specifically at Road to MSI, Cuzz are a focal point. And it feels like they're buffed.
Yeah.
We had that last year as well.
So fantastic that in the final series we have the Krug Lord waiting.
Oh, yeah.
When yesterday it did feel a little bit like Ona was trying to steal his title. Chovy clears out that wave and will be now going back. We'll see how close to the Imperial Mandate he is. But 2 seconds on this Dragon. Another soul point attempt for KT.
Oh, he went straight for the 6 Arm Guard. He wants power now.
I'll see whether he can find it. Aiming on this Dragon, charging up that Q quite nicely is Kiin. He's got the Mega Gnar bar kind of working out for him as the Arcane Storm goes down onto Chovy. Cataclysm, but the Claw manages to get him out of there. And now the quickness has come on through. Duro looking for a bit of an angle, but he's very squishy. Gets knocked up. Perfect makes it into the back line. And down goes Kiin for the first kill of the fight. Chovy makes his way forward, ults himself, and takes the Dragon. And then breaks the Arm Guard, but is still not out of dodge just yet. Takes the Claw. Now he is. Rule ults backwards for some reason. And now Perfect is the target. Cold Meat comes through, but now Ruler is going to get punished for that initial mistake. And KT are closing in. The death ray doesn't do it, but the Q does. And BDD may have just opened the door to a Baron attempt for KT.
A critical error from Ruler. The Feather Storm in the wrong direction allows KT to chase, to approach with no threat, and they manage to clean up the kills. And now looking for Canyon. If they can deny him, the Baron is free. They get some good poke down on the BDD, and is that enough? Is it enough to ward them away from the objective? Or are they just going to TP back in with full health bars? That's the question.
Yep.
No, I think they back off.
All right, let's have a look at this fight one more time.
So Kiin's on the cusp of Mega Gnar, and he's ready to go with this. We initially get the Cataclysm onto Chovy, which feels like a weird target priority. Kiin jumps in and then just gets shredded down. After he goes for the ultimate, he gets focused down after that. Chovy then securing the Dragon and buying a ton of time here basically allows him to pull off a heist because he can disengage out of this with his flash. But then Ruler here ends up ulting the wrong way. I think he was just trying to respond to potential flash polymorph from Effort. But the fact it's the wrong way means look at the positioning of all of KT. They're running forward to where the feathers would have been. They cannot do that if those feathers are there. And the end result is Gen.G losing out in the fight.
And now KT haven't started the Baron just yet, but they do have positional advantage around the area as that ward is going to get swept. Mortal Reminder is now completed. 3rd item done for Ruler. But there is, oh man, we are so close to an Infinity Edge, and I think Aiming has it as he is going to go back to base now. So there is the IE. 3 items apiece for both of our carries, but it does feel like Aiming does so much if he can ever actually hit squishies. And everyone is kind of a squishy on Gen.G's side. So it feels very good to be the Yunara at this point in the game. And I do feel like Aiming has been probably one of our most, if not the most successful Yunara players this season.
Yep, definitely remember that pentakill he got earlier in the season.
Yeah. So certainly in a great position to carry this one. 1,000 gold, still the lead for Gen.G though.
It still feels so delicate. It's only 1,000 gold lead, 2 dragons apiece, so Soul is miles away. And both teams I mean, Xayah is always going to be strong, but you're under threat because of the Jarvan. The Naafiri is very strong, but might have a tough time in this composition. But this Viktor and Yunara are just scaling up to be absolute monsters.
3 items now completed for BDD as well. Going to be an interesting fight.
It's also a very bulky Viktor with the blood ladders and the rocket belt.
Yeah, yeah, just like a lot of, I guess, extra, like, fun defensive stats. And the claw going to come on through there, but Cuzz able to walk himself out of the way, so it's not going to be a target.
Extra fun defensive stats.
Well, you know, it's just, it still does a positive offensive thing, but you can just get some for fun defensive stats. It's not a defensive item, it's got some fun defensive stats. As Canyon's going to have to play some for fun defensive, get out of there, and does do that. Goes up into the sky and escapes.
So what you're saying is a pure tank item is not fun?
No, it's not. Would you say that a pure tank item is fun?
I think it depends on the tank item. Heartsteel is definitely fun.
Would you say that's a pure defensive item?
No.
Exactly. Sunfire Cape, bit more fun. Does also do some damage. That is going to be a steal here for Canyon. Ults in on top of Cuzz. Perfect is there, trying to play some defense, but Cuzz has to flag and drag his way out. Then takes the wrong way around these wolves as Ruler gets Arcane Stormed. As BDD looking to chase them down, gets the dash cannon towards Chovy, using his own technology against him. Such a Viktor thing to do.
And they're all going to reset and give up a lot of control off the map. I was thinking maybe KT sweep in and not start the Baron, but get control of the area, but a reset comes through instead. Maybe we're out of wards. Actually, Dragon up in 30 seconds, so that'll be the priority for now. But a tense game at this point.
All right, only 1,000 gold in it.
Yes,
And at 30 minutes, that means less than nothing.
Canyon is going to move up and get some vision in the Baron area before they move over to Dragon. KT make their way straight there. And this does put things in a little bit of a delicate spot since KT haven't gotten any vision at all towards the top side. But it looks like both teams are just looking towards this third Dragon. Gen.G making their way, wrapping around the bot side of the map where Kiin is trying to stack up his Mega Gnar bar.
This is where the vision is for Gen.G with that control ward down. They also have the irremovable vision here from the Rift Scuttler that now just dissipates.
Chovy's just clearing out mid wave. He does have TP, but he's a little late.
Yep, they do start this one up as Canyon bounces over that wall. Kiin with a great Gnar bar position right now as Chovy still biding his time. Hasn't committed to moving on over as BDD. Be careful, he's going rogue. The rest of Gen.G now holding onto the Drake. They do not let it reset as now the pre-dominus here from Perfect as he gets into the back of the pit. Duro going to be his target, at least for the moment, as Kiin was looking to try and make his way in, but there is the Drake secured. That is soul point over to Gen.G. The flash out of his own Cataclysm for Cuzz, but now the AoE flies forward. Aiming was free hitting. He gets ulted by Kiin and then just dashes away, flashes out, but it's the Lulu that goes down first. Aiming trying his best to get this damage down as he dashes in on top of Kiin and then is immediately punished by Chovy. The double kill for the Lissandra, and KT, they still have BDD, there's still a lot of damage, but they've only gotten 1 kill so far in this fight. Canyon goes up into the sky, and Perfect and BDD, not enough to take him down.
Such a precarious fight there. Felt like Cuzz's ultimate, the Cataclysm, got so much value trapping Chovy and Kiin, but it just wasn't quite enough. Their focus was so heavily on aiming, not allowing him to play the game. And Gen.G able to not only secure the Dragon, but get a convincing fight win as well.
Man, I was kind of feeling like KT were positioned to make that front-to-back work, but let's have a look why it didn't.
Yeah, so it's really funny how it pans out because Chovy goes in after the Polymorph has already been burned, Kiin as well, but they just get both Cataclysmed here and end up trapped in with the Arcane Storm, yeah. And then Canyon has to dip away on low HP. But we see the quickness from Duro, occupying time allows Chovy to move up, then Kiin gets some damage down. It's just the juggling of health here that allows Ruler to push forward and finish off the enemy AD carry. Their focus point was so much on aiming, and they successfully take him down, but you look at how low the health bars are. Things could have gone a little bit different, and that could have been KT's team fight, you got to think for sure.
Well, let's see whether KT can make something happen now, as they have moved to a pretty considerable deficit, and that is Mountain Soul Point for Gen.G with triple mountains already stacked up. I mean, if you thought that they didn't have a tank before, which is something that I actually said, I think everyone's a tank now.
Yeah, I mean,
so never mind.
Canyon has a QSS and 105 magic resist.
My
the mountains plus that. 131 armor with just plated steel caps. The worst is when you look at the 80 carry resist. That's when it always...
Especially when you look at them side by side.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous.
So definitely getting a lot of value. Duro also buying the new buffed Knight's Vow.
Yeah. As is Zeke's already. That's all right, Chovy. Very safe as the Lissandra. You can just claw your way out of almost any situation.
And right now, KT in a delicate spot because aiming no flash. Ruler still has his. You can't just Cataclysm the enemy Xayah. And aiming can definitely be a focused target.
And he doesn't quite have his Last Whisper item completed just yet.
Yeah, Ruler with 133 armor with just plated steel caps is a little bit insane.
Yeah, Chovy with 160 as well himself, so feeling pretty good about that one. Canyon going to look to try and start up this Baron by the looks of things. And yeah, there are feathers being thrown at it as we speak. Down to 50%. My goodness, they do a lot of damage. As Cuzz flagging a dragon towards Duro. As Chovy now holding perfect in place. Will be able to get himself out of there. Effort is moving over. Does have the polymorph in hand. Let's see whether they can lock him down. The flash forward as Perfect looks to try and take him out, but he can buy so much time for himself. Frozen Tomb does come down, and there's a Ring of Frost as well as the rest of Gen.G. They're going to show up in time, and Perfect desperation as he dives forward. And now Kiin takes matters into his own hands. A double for Ruler, who's yelling Penta, Penta, Penta. He'll take the triple, at least for now, as PDD and Effort need to escape to try and deny all of them being on the floor. As Gen.G looking for another date at MSI and another date with T1 in order to get there.
And KT think they've caught Chovy, but he's able to buy so much time in this situation. Perfect trying to get on top of him. Not the easiest thing to do as a Renekton, but they're moving over, and it's just buying so much time in this situation. Doesn't use his stasis early because he waits for everyone else to get in range. Self-ult into Rocket Belt. Even had the Zhonya still, but dashes away. And the other thing that's huge here is, even though the wild growth interrupted the Naafiri, Duro's so patient with his grand entrance. He waits until aiming dashes and then instantly locks him down. The follow-up is there from Kiin, and aiming goes down once again. Gen.G, 8,000 gold lead, and so close to taking that final Nexus of the day.
Yeah, and this was looking so incredibly close. It was down to the wire, and now it is anything but that. This is a ridiculous lead that Gen.G have built up for themselves. The Rebel Baron power play is only at 1,500 for the moment. They've wiped out every single outer turret, and the inhibitors are the only things still defended so far for KT, who are now circling the drain. Canyon going to be taking down this dragon, and that is going to be Mountain Soul with quad Mountain Drakes. And I'd say that that is probably a decent way to win the game.
It's pretty good. It's pretty nice. It's
pros column. Put that one in the pros column.
For sure. It's going to make it very hard for KT, who already has such a deficit, to cut through these members of Gen.G.
All right, looking for the angle there. There's a wild growth on to Ruler, who gets the protection, and KT just do not have the options. Chovy turns it into an engage as he self-ults onto the turret. They take down Effort, but Duro's dead as well. There goes Ruler, and now it's Aiming's turn to try and get this damage down. PDD getting the work done himself as he can walk through the base gate. The death ray is named well as Kiin will go down, and Perfect just slinks away. Only Canyon and Chovy left alive, and maybe we spoke a little too soon about KT's demise.
And Gen.G think they found the turnaround play after they go for the engage onto Ruler, but Ruler just steps up a little too far, and they end up getting punished in that situation. KT able to at least buy some time on this game. We'll see the replay. This was a full commit here to try and make sure Ruler cannot press R. The flag and drag into flash, and then the immediate polymorph, but they're able to peel for him. But then they play so far forward, Ruler steps up and ends up getting clipped there by the laser into the follow-up from Cuzz to take him down. And without that Xayah, suddenly the damage feels a bit lacking for Gen.G. You see Canyon nearly takes down Perfect, but it would only be into the GA anyway, but he does just back off.
Effort needs to be a little bit careful here as we jump back to live, but he's going to be all right as now Chovy looking for an angle towards BDD. BDD is very frightening though, 4-1 and 5, and almost has his death cap completed for item number 4.
The one thing of that last fight is even though it stopped the Baron push from Gen.G and it bought some time, it didn't drastically change the state of the game. Still a Mountain Soul of Gen.G, still 8,000 gold lead. And Ruler, Chovy, and Canyon still have flashes. We have no flashes on the side of KT. So it's going to be a delicate position because we've seen how laser-focused Gen.G are on punishing aiming. When he doesn't have that flash available, it's going to be an even easier target. And you can't just Cataclysm Ruler in response and expect that to win you the fight. This is the delicate point of the game for KT. And obviously the series as well.
Exactly. Remember, this is, if you want to go to Daejeon, and this is what you have to overcome. KT, they lose this, they are just gone straight home. No more MSI prospects, no date with T1 tomorrow. Gen.G, they'll be the ones that have to contend with that one as Chovy actually goes in, finds a dash cannon there, Frozen Tomb on a Cuzz, does get McHale's. Will be able to get himself out of there, but the Frozen Tomb is on a pretty short cooldown at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Chovy not even going the Imperial Mandate as well, so not going to be as short a cooldown as it could be otherwise, but still not the longest. Got that Void Staff and the Zhonya's now.
Yeah.
They're looking for him.
All right, let's see what they can get on top of him. There's the Cataclysm. Ring of Frost goes down, and yeah, it's a Lissandra. They do get the flash.
It's a good trade for KT, getting the flash out of him. The McHale's was down, but it's a pretty short cooldown. It's something. You're eating away at these resources from the opposite side, and even though Lissandra has a lot of built-in safety, the flash can be used to combo so well with her other abilities. KT are in a dire spot, but anything they can burn before this next Baron, next Elder Dragon, will be a big boon, making it a lot easier. Got BDD's also completed Rabadons at this point, so his damage is very much online.
Yeah, it's absolutely obscene. And now has another needlessly large rod as well. Just making sure that he maximizes the amount of damage he can do. Chovy parked himself towards his top lane, has been up here for quite some time. But it's 2 minutes. And honestly, it does, even though it's an 8,000 gold lead, even though there's a Mountain Soul, I do still feel like KT might have the opportunity to bring this to a coin flip. Right? If you can get Cuzz into that pit with a smite available, magic can often happen.
They got through the tough point where their summoners were unavailable. Flash is going to be back up. They have strong scaling elements in their team composition. Gen.G are still in a great spot, don't get me wrong. Chovy just picked up a Rabadons there. Stole the Dark Seal for it, so feeling pretty good about that. And don't get me wrong, Gen.G are very far ahead, but a misexecution, a misstep, not killing a primary target, there's a lot of damage from KT that can be turned around, because even though they're really far behind in gold, the carries have items. It's 5 items for aiming, 4.5 for BDD. They have the damage to dish out. It's just having the freedom to do so when they're under such threat.
Now KT moving up this mid lane. Cuzz might be in a little bit of trouble. Does get snared momentarily as BDD actually dashing forward, looking for that Arcane Storm. It hasn't really done anything outside of get rid of the Mountain Shield, as now the ulti comes forward from Canyon as well, as he gets in on top of the follow-up is very, very late. And now Kiin from that top side finally shows up as Chovy gets that claw forward but does not follow it in. And KT, I don't know whether they're exactly unhappy with how this one went. Ult for ult is going to be the trade. Canyon's 4 BDDs. But now the Baron is being started up by Gen.G, even though KT know it's going to be so hard for them to do anything about it, as the claw is not going to be followed once again.
Gone.
Perfect gets in there, and there is the Baron. It's just gone.
But
Gen.G, take it.
I will say Baron, not the biggest concern when Elder is on the card, so KT will back away here and try and regain control. Chaos Storm nearly back up again for BDD.
Yep, you cannot lose anyone though, otherwise it's just going to be free Elder as Perfect, he might be going down. Canyon managing to land those daggers, slicing and dicing.
Oh, the blast goes!
And Cuzz trying to get himself out of there. He flashes to get away. There are 2 GAs, so these low health members will keep themselves alive. But they do want to take those big cooldowns, and Canyon's dead! Cataclysm comes in, and it's a double for aiming! Perfect is now trying to fight this as he goes down to his GA. And Ruler and Chovy and Kiin, I think they're just going to try and look to end the game, because they've lost their smite and Elder is up!
BDD walking forward, looking for Ruler here.
Oh my goodness, this is so precarious. This is so awkward because Gen.G have just kind of obliterated the base. And so KT, they need someone to defend, but they also need to take this Elder off the map before respawns come in.
Okay, Perfect's there. They should be able to defend this top inhibitor. 2 down, it's not good, but it's not the end of the game. And they now have the Elder secured, which it's a big boost in power. Can they make use of it in this next 2 minutes 20, though, is the big question. This was such a delicate fight, and it was just disrespect of the Viktor's damage and the Chaos Storm, because they burn a lot of tools trying to take out Perfect, and if they get him into his GA, he's a sitting dub. The Blast Cone from Cuzz, I didn't quite see, even second time around, how that happened, but hilarious.
Yeah.
The Blast Cone shenanigans here. BDD gets so much damage down.
My lord!
Maybe they thought it was still not available yet, but he kills 2. Canyon goes down before really using anything, and then Ruler has to run away from the sheer size of it.
Yeah, the double reset actually kind of gigantic. Poor BDD, able to really boost up that
So
Chaos Storm, formerly now Arcane Storm.
this is one problem, is that KT have Elder Dragon and absolutely win a fight if they take one right now.
Yes.
But Gen.G have Baron and 2 super minion waves pushing and will not fight you.
Yeah, it feels like an absolute stalemate, and we're just going to have to wait until the next Baron and Elder are up and available.
Yeah, it has bought time for KT, but Gen.G have that permanent buff off the Mountain Dragon, which they feel very good about.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of wave clear that they can do pretty safely with the Xayah and the Lissandra just to thin it out. Might have to give up this tier 2. I think that's going to be the cost in this situation, but it's not exactly a huge... Oh, Kiin might be more of a cost.
He is going to be put into the Cataclysm, has to flash to get himself out of the way, as there is the claw from Chovy, but he ain't taking that one. That is a little bit too scary, as BDD breaks that Crystalline Overgrowth, does a lot of damage there to the turret.
So as much as the flash going down seems bad for Gen.G, it actually distracted KT away from the tower, and it meant they have to wait for another wave. It's just buying more and more time. The tower's going to go down anyway.
Yeah.
They are stalling KT out as well as they can. The Baron buff is gone, so they don't have that available. But it's 30 seconds. There's just one more wave coming in that KT have to play with, and it looks like they're not even going to sit around and wait for that. The Elder has been timed out. The gold lead is closed by 1,000. And KT, despite getting that all-powerful buff, haven't been able to translate into too much on.
Oh no, it's flash from BDD! He's not able to get over the wall, but he's still able to do a lot of damage before he dies. But Chovy answers! Massive frozen tomb on himself. He goes golden as well. And now Duro gets in there, but everyone does make themselves scarce, gets out of the way, but the Lulu not going to survive. Aiming, trying to fight this one as he does kill the doggo, but now everyone else is dead, and Aiming will be able to chase down Duro potentially, but Ruler will be there with the damage, and Aiming just realizing that he has to try and do this one by himself. Chovy teleports to the enemy base, and he's going to look to finish this one once and for all. A 3-0 for Gen.G off the back of this man in the mid lane. Oh my goodness, Gen.G, what a performance in the end there. They may have lost the Elder Drake, but Chovy knew how to take it back. And that's a 3-0 domination from Gen.G here today.